It was a quiet morning at Sunrise Cafe, the kind of place where the smell of fresh coffee mixed with the sound of clinking cups and soft chatter. Emma, a 26-year-old waitress, tied her worn-out apron and forced a smile. Life hadn't been easy. Bills piled up faster than her paychecks, and her dream of finishing nursing school felt like a memory fading in the distance. Still, she greeted every customer with warmth, believing kindness was something she could afford to give, even when life didn't give her much back. Across the street, a sleek black car pulled up. Inside sat Daniel Hayes, a man who had everything money could buy her, except peace. At 35, he was a self-made millionaire, owner of a chain of tech companies and father to a 6-year-old girl named Lily, who was wheelchair-bound after a car accident that took her mother's life 2 years ago. Since then, Daniel's world had turned cold. He did everything for his daughter, yet her laughter, once the light of his home, had vanished. That morning, Daniel had driven Lily to the cafe, hoping to coax her into eating something. She hadn't been eating well, and her doctors worried she was slipping into depression. "Just a few bites, sweetheart," he whispered as they entered, his voice tired but gentle. Emma noticed them immediately. The sight of Lily, fragile, quiet, with eyes that held too much sadness for a child, stirred something in her. She walked over with her usual kindness. "Good morning. What can I get you two today?" Daniel forced a polite smile. "Just a coffee for me, and maybe a pancake for my daughter." Lily didn't respond. She looked down, fiddling with the corner of her napkin. Emma knelt beside her, smiling softly. "Hey there, pretty girl. Do you like pancakes?" Lily didn't answer, but when Emma gently placed a small pancake shaped like a heart in front of her, a faint sparkle appeared in her eyes. Emma cut a small piece and held out the fork. "You know, when I was your age, my mom said pancakes make you brave," she said warmly. "Want to test that theory?" Lily hesitated, then took a tiny bite. Daniel froze, watching in disbelief. It had been months since he'd seen Lily eat willingly, months since she'd smiled at all. Emma continued talking to Lily in a soft, playful tone, making funny faces, telling her stories about pancake superpowers. Bit by bit, Lily's wall crumbled. By the time Emma brought a cup of warm cocoa, the little girl was giggling softly, the sound Daniel had missed more than anything in the world. He sat there silently, his chest tightening. He'd paid therapists, specialists, even traveled across states trying to reach his daughter, but this waitress, this stranger, had done in minutes what no one else could. After finishing their meal, Daniel stood up, still stunned. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick. "You're very good with kids." Emma smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Kids just need love. Sometimes they don't need to be fixed, just understood." As Daniel pushed Lily's wheelchair toward the door, she turned and waved shyly. "Bye, Miss Emma." Emma's heart melted. She waved back, her eyes glistening. She didn't know it yet, but that little moment, that simple breakfast, was about to change her life forever. Outside, Daniel paused before getting into his car. He watched Emma through the window, how she treated every customer with the same warmth, how she laughed despite the weariness in her eyes. Something inside him shifted. He didn't know why, but he made a silent promise to himself. This woman deserves better. And I'm going to find a way to help her. As he drove off, Lily's small voice filled the car. "Daddy, can we come back here tomorrow?" Daniel smiled faintly for the first time in a long while. "Of course we can, sweetheart." Of course. The next morning, the bell above the door of Sunrise Cafe jingled again. Emma glanced up from the counter and felt her heart lift when she saw the familiar little wheelchair roll in. Lily's bright eyes scanned the room until they found her, and the little girl's smile was like sunshine breaking through clouds. "Miss Emma," she called softly. Emma grinned, wiping her hands on her apron as she hurried over. "Well, look who's back. My favorite breakfast superhero." Daniel followed behind, holding Lily's backpack and coffee order like any other tired dad. But today there was something different in his face, softer, lighter. "Seems someone couldn't stop talking about pancakes last night," he said with a small chuckle. Emma laughed. "Then I better make them extra heroic today." As Emma went to place their order, she felt something unusual flutter inside her, a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe it was the joy of seeing Lily smile, or the way Daniel watched his daughter with such deep love. She didn't know it yet, but this small ritual, serving breakfast to a father and his daughter, was about to become something she'd look forward to every single morning. When Emma returned with their plates, she found Lily trying to draw on a napkin with a broken crayon. Emma knelt beside her again. "You like drawing?" she asked. Lily nodded. "I like drawing. People who smile." Emma's chest tightened. "That's beautiful, sweetheart." "Can I be one of those people?" Lily giggled and began sketching a stick figure with messy hair and a heart beside it. "That's you." Daniel watched quietly, his heart swelling. It had been so long since Lily had opened up like this. "You're really good with her," he said again, his tone full of sincerity. Emma shrugged lightly. "I just see a brave little girl who's learning to smile again." Daniel hesitated before replying. "You remind me of someone." "My wife, actually. She used to talk to Lily like that, with patience, warmth. After she passed, I tried to fill that space, but..." His voice broke off. Emma's expression softened. "Grief is heavy, Mr. Hayes. Sometimes it takes more than love to heal. It takes connection, even from strangers." He looked at her, surprised by her wisdom. "You've been through something, haven't you?" Emma smiled faintly, her eyes clouding with memories. "We all have our battles. Mine just happened early. Lost my mom at 18. Since then, it's been me, a stack of bills and a dream that keeps getting postponed." Daniel felt something stir within him. Respect, admiration, and a quiet curiosity. He wanted to ask more, but Lily tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, can Miss Emma come to the park with us after breakfast?" Emma's eyes widened. "Oh, sweetheart, I can't. I have another shift later." But Daniel interrupted gently. "You deserve a break. I can talk to your manager. It'll be my treat." Emma shook her head, smiling shyly. "You really don't have to do that. This job, it's my lifeline." He admired her pride. She wasn't someone who took handouts, and even from a man like him. That made her stand out even more. When their breakfast was done, Lily insisted on giving Emma the drawing she'd made. On it were 3 stick figures, and one tall, one in a wheelchair, and one with a heart. "That's us," Lily said. "You, me, and Daddy." Emma blinked back tears. "I'll keep it forever." Daniel watched as she folded the drawing carefully and tucked it into her apron. Something inside him broke and healed at the same time. For the first time since his wife's passing, he didn't feel like he was just surviving. That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Daniel sat alone in his study. On his desk were contracts, reports, and all the markers of his success. Yet none of it compared to what he felt that morning. Peace. He opened his laptop and searched Sunrise Cafe job listings. It was a small, struggling business, he discovered. The owner was an elderly woman looking to sell soon. Daniel leaned back in his chair, a small smile touching his lips. "Maybe there's a way I can give back," he murmured. Without her even knowing. He had no idea that his quiet decision that night would set off a chain of events that would change all of their lives forever. Days turned into weeks, and the Sunrise Cafe became a place of laughter again, at least around one table by the window. Emma would always spot Daniel's car pulling up and Lily's excited smile as she wheeled inside. What had started as coincidence was now a ritual. Every morning, Emma made Lily's pancakes shaped like hearts, stars, or flowers, and Daniel would sit quietly, watching them, not just as a father, but as a man rediscovering hope. Emma had no idea that behind that calm smile, Daniel was quietly planning something that could change her life forever. One evening, long after the cafe closed, Emma stayed behind to wipe the counters. Her feet ached and her mind wandered. Rent was due in 3 days. Her student loan notice sat unopened in her bag. She sighed and whispered to herself, "Just 1 more month. I'll find a way." Unbeknownst to her, Daniel had already found one. Earlier that week, he'd met with the cafe's elderly owner, Mrs. Parker. "You want to buy the place?" she asked, surprised as she stirred her tea. Daniel nodded. "Yes, but I want to keep the staff, especially Emma. Don't tell her I'm the buyer. Just let her keep running things like always." Mrs. Parker smiled knowingly. "You must think highly of her." Daniel hesitated, then replied softly, "She reminded my daughter how to live again. The least I can do is make sure she doesn't lose her dream." A week later, the papers were signed. The cafe was his, but no one, not even Emma, knew. That Friday morning, Emma walked in to find a notice pinned near the register. "New management in place. Business will continue as usual. Staff positions remain secure. Her stomach dropped. New management? She whispered. Please don't let this mean layoffs. When Daniel and Lily arrived that morning, Emma tried to smile, though worry clouded her eyes. Daniel noticed immediately. Rough morning? He asked gently. She nodded. I might lose my job soon. The cafe's been sold. We don't even know who the new owner is. Daniel fought to hide his smile. Maybe it's someone who sees how much this place and the people in it matter. Emma gave a small laugh. Let's hope so. I'm not ready to let go of this place yet. As they ate, Lily handed Emma a folded piece of paper. Inside was a crayon drawing. The cafe with the three of them smiling under a big rainbow. Written in a child's uneven handwriting were the words, "Home is where kind people are." Emma felt tears sting her eyes. This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever given me, she whispered. That afternoon, after her shift, Emma found an envelope taped to her locker. It had no name, just her own written neatly on the front. Inside was a letter. For someone who gives kindness even when life gives little back. You once said you had dreams you had to postpone. Maybe it's time you chase them again. From someone who believes in you. Tucked inside the envelope was a check. Enough to pay off her overdue bills and cover her first semester back at nursing school. Emma froze, her heart pounding. She looked around, half expecting someone to jump out and say it was a joke, but no one did. She pressed the letter to her chest, tears flowing freely. Who could have done this? She whispered to herself. Meanwhile, in the car outside, Daniel watched from a distance, his hand resting on the steering wheel. Lily peeked from her seat. Daddy, did you tell her it was you? Daniel smiled gently. Not yet, sweetheart. Sometimes real kindness means giving without being seen. Lily thought for a moment and then nodded. Like Mommy used to say. Daniel's eyes softened. Exactly like Mommy used to say. That night, Emma walked home under the glow of streetlights, her heart lighter than it had been in years. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen, valued. Whoever had believed in her had just given her more than money. They had given her hope. And she had no idea that the man who had done it all would soon step into her life in a way she could never have imagined. A week had passed since. Emma received the mysterious letter and check, yet she couldn't stop thinking about it. Every night before bed, she reread the note, tracing the handwriting, trying to imagine the face behind those kind words. Whoever this anonymous helper was, they had given her more than financial relief. They had restored her faith in miracles. At the cafe, life went on as usual. The morning light spilled through the windows and Lily's laughter once again filled the room. But today Daniel seemed distracted. His phone buzzed with urgent work calls, yet his gaze often drifted to Emma, her gentle smile, her unspoken strength. Mr. Hayes, Emma said cheerfully as she placed his coffee down. Your usual, and 2 sugars, 1 quiet smile. He chuckled softly. You're getting to know me too well. Maybe it's my superpower, she teased. Lily giggled. Miss Emma has pancake powers and people powers. Their laughter drew glances from other customers, but no one minded. The joy around that table had become part of the cafe's charm. Later that day, Mrs. Parker, the cafe's former owner, walked in for her favorite tea. She greeted Daniel warmly, unaware Emma was listening nearby. Mr. Hayes, it's lovely to see the cafe thriving. You've done a wonderful job keeping everything running. Emma froze, her tray trembling in her hands. Mr. Hayes? Daniel's smile faded slightly. Mrs. Parker, please. But Emma had already turned toward them, eyes wide with shock. Wait, what did she just say? Mrs. Parker looked confused. Oh dear. Didn't you know? Mr. Hayes is the new owner of Sunrise Cafe. For a moment, the whole world went quiet. Emma blinked, her mind spinning. You bought the cafe? Daniel stood slowly, guilt and sincerity in his eyes. Yes, but please, Emma, let me explain. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered, her voice trembling. You let me worry about losing my job. You let me think I was on the edge of losing everything. I didn't want you to feel obligated, he said softly. You've been strong all on your own. I just wanted to make sure you never had to lose what gave you joy. Emma shook her head, tears forming. You helped me behind my back. You gave me money, didn't you? Daniel hesitated, then nodded. I wanted to give you a chance to chase your dreams. You've given my daughter something priceless, her smile. I couldn't just stand by. Her lip quivered. You had no right to decide what I needed. Maybe not, he admitted quietly, but I had the right to care. The sincerity in his voice caught her off guard. His tone wasn't one of arrogance, and it was filled with raw emotion, the kind that came from a place of deep gratitude and unspoken affection. Lily, sensing the tension, looked between them. Miss Emma, Daddy just wanted to say thank you. Emma turned away, trying to gather herself. I didn't do any of this for a reward, Daniel. I just cared about your daughter. That's all. I know, he said softly, stepping closer. That's exactly why you deserved more. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, You can't just fix people's lives with money. Daniel's eyes glistened. I wasn't trying to fix you, Emma. I was trying to help the person who fixed us. Those words hung in the air like a warm echo. The cafe had gone silent again, the only sound the faint hum of the coffee machine. Emma looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time she saw past the wealth, past the fame. She saw the man who'd lost everything and still found the courage to care again. She wiped her eyes and exhaled shakily. I didn't want to be someone's charity story. You're not, Daniel said softly. You're the reason I believe in kindness again. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Lily wheeled forward and took Emma's hand. Please don't be mad, Miss Emma. Can we still have pancakes tomorrow? Emma let out a tearful laugh, kneeling beside her. Of course, sweetheart, always. As Daniel watched them, he felt something stir inside him, something gentle and undeniable. He hadn't meant to fall for her, but somewhere between pancakes and laughter, between gratitude and healing, he already had. The days after the truth came out were quiet at Sunrise Cafe. Emma still worked her shifts, but something had changed. Her smile, once radiant, had dimmed, replaced by confusion and a storm of emotions she didn't quite know how to handle. Daniel came by every morning as usual, but now there was a careful distance in his eyes. He understood. She needed space, and so he waited. Lily, on the other hand, didn't understand why her favorite person suddenly seemed so sad. One afternoon, while Daniel was on a call outside, she wheeled herself over to Emma. Miss Emma, she said softly, did Daddy make you upset because he tried to help? Emma knelt down, her heart aching. Oh, sweet girl, your daddy's heart is in the right place. I just wasn't ready to be helped like that. Lily tilted her head. Mommy used to say that when people care too much, sometimes they make mistakes, but it's because their hearts are big. Tears welled up in Emma's eyes. You're so wise, Lily. The little girl smiled and handed her a folded napkin. Then maybe this will fix it. Inside was another drawing, this time of the three of them standing under a tree, smiling, with a sign that read, Home. Emma pressed the napkin to her chest, her heart melting. Thank you, sweetheart. That evening, after her shift, Emma walked to the park near the cafe, the same park where Daniel often took Lily. She found him sitting on a bench watching Lily play with a few other children. Daniel looked up as Emma approached, his expression unreadable. Didn't think you'd want to see me. I wasn't sure I did, she admitted honestly. But your daughter has a way of softening hearts. He smiled faintly. She gets that from her mother. Emma sat beside him, taking a deep breath. You didn't have to buy the cafe or send that money. But I finally realized it wasn't pity. It was gratitude. And maybe something more. He turned to her slowly, eyes full of emotion. It's everything you think it is, Emma. You changed Lily's life. You changed mine. Before you, I thought money could fix anything. But you showed me what real healing looks like. Laughter, kindness, and time. Emma's eyes shimmered in the golden light. And you showed me that sometimes help isn't a handout. It's love disguised as opportunity. They sat there in silence for a moment, the wind rustling the trees. Lily's laughter echoed in the distance, clear and bright. It was a sound that once seemed lost forever. Daniel reached into his coat pocket and handed Emma a small envelope. "Before you say anything," he said gently, "this isn't another check. It's something else." She hesitated before opening it. Inside was a nursing school admission letter, her name printed clearly across the top. "How did you—" "I didn't pull strings," he said quickly. "You applied weeks ago. They called the cafe yesterday asking for your confirmation. I just made sure you didn't miss the deadline." Emma covered her mouth, overwhelmed. "I got in?" He nodded, smiling softly. "You did. You're going to be an amazing nurse, Emma." For the first time, she didn't fight the tears. "You've done so much for me, Daniel. I don't even know how to thank you." He looked at her gently. "Just promise me one thing. Never stop being the woman who believes in kindness, even when the world gives you reasons not to." She reached out and took his hand. "Only if you promise to stop hiding behind your wealth and start living again." Their eyes met, and for the first time, there was no distance between them, no secrets, no walls. Just two people who had healed each other's broken pieces without even realizing it. Lily rolled over to them, her little face glowing. "Are you two done being sad now?" They both laughed, Daniel squeezing her hand. "I think we are, sweetheart." Emma smiled. "So pancakes tomorrow?" Lily grinned. "Always." The sun set behind them. Daniel looked at Emma, really looked, and saw the future he never thought he'd have again. Not one built on money or success, but on love, laughter, and the kind of kindness that changes everything. And in that golden moment, 3 hearts that had once been broken found their way home again.